Good evening. Welcome to Inside News. I'm Soraya, and this is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. Tonight, we bring you the stories that matter, the headlines commanding global attention, and the crucial developments that escape mainstream coverage, but deserve your awareness. From diplomatic tensions and humanitarian crises to underreported conflicts reshaping regions, we navigate the complexities of our interconnected world. We begin with tonight's major developments. The International Court of Justice has issued a landmark ruling ordering Israel to restore access to the United Nations for delivering food and essential supplies into the Gaza Strip. The advisory opinion from the UN's highest court found Israel failed to provide evidence supporting its claims that UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, lacked neutrality, or that significant numbers of its staff were Hamas members. ICJ President Yuji Iwasawa emphasized that customary international law prohibits using starvation of civilian populations as a method of warfare. Israel has condemned the ruling and stated it will not comply with the court's instructions. Despite a US-brokered ceasefire that began October 10th, violence continues to claim lives in Gaza. Officials report nearly 100 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli attacks since the truce took effect. On Wednesday, Palestinians in central Gaza conducted a mass burial for 54 unidentified bodies handed over by Israel. Forensic doctors at Nasser Hospital could not identify roughly two-thirds of the remains. Many bodies displayed clear signs of torture and traumatic injuries, according to Dr. Ahmed Dare, a senior forensic specialist. Families searching for loved ones were unable to make identifications due to the extent of damage to the remains. The World Health Organization successfully evacuated 41 critical patients and 145 companions from Gaza. Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus announced. Meanwhile, in the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers attacked Palestinian olive pickers in Termis Aya, north of Ramallah. The Palestinian Wall and Settlement Resistance Commission has documented 158 attacks against olive pickers since the harvest season began 2 weeks ago. European Union leaders are convening in Brussels today for a critical summit addressing Ukraine, European defense, competitiveness, and migration. As Russia continues relentless attacks against Ukraine's civilians and infrastructure, EU leaders are discussing concrete measures to increase support for Ukraine and pressure on Russia in pursuit of peace. The European Parliament debated a reparations loan to fund Ukraine's reconstruction and defense, potentially unlocking 185 billion euros in frozen Russian central bank assets. Under this proposal announced by Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, the assets themselves would remain untouched, with Ukraine reimbursing the loan only once Russia pays reparations. The Trump administration announced massive new sanctions against Russia's two largest oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, aiming to bring an end to Moscow's war on Ukraine. President Trump hosted NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the White House, where discussions centered on efforts to conclude the war in Ukraine. Rutte told reporters that NATO wants to help deliver on Trump's vision of peace in Ukraine. In France, authorities continue their manhunt following the audacious October 19th heist at the Louvre Museum. 4 thieves, disguised as construction workers, used a truck-mounted ladder to access the second-floor Apollo Gallery during regular opening hours, stealing 8 pieces of French crown jewels valued at 88 million euros. The 7-minute robbery involved cutting through display cases with angle grinders. The thieves dropped one item, the crown of Empress Eugenie, featuring 1,354 diamonds and 56 emeralds, which was found damaged at the scene. French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez called it a major operation of immeasurable heritage value. President Emmanuel Macron condemned the theft as an attack on France's cherished history and vowed to recover the works and bring perpetrators to justice. The United States federal government shutdown has entered its 23rd day, creating widespread disruptions across multiple sectors. 60,000 aviation safety workers will not receive full paychecks in coming days. The Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport Authority plans to provide non-perishable food to struggling federal employees. The National Nuclear Security Administration, which oversees the nation's nuclear stockpile, has furloughed more than 1,400 employees, 3/4 of its staff. The Senate's 12th attempt to end the shutdown failed Wednesday. Turning to Latin America, tensions escalated between the United States and Colombia after President Gustavo Petro accused American forces of murdering an innocent fisherman during September strikes on alleged drug smuggling vessels. President Trump responded by withdrawing aid to Colombia and imposing new tariffs. The U.S. military conducted strikes on 2 vessels in the Pacific this week, killing all people on board, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announced. This appears to mark an expansion of military operations following 7 previous strikes in the Caribbean Sea. In Bolivia, centrist Senator Rodrigo Paz won the presidency with 54% of the vote, ending 20 years of rule by the Movement Towards Socialism party amid economic turmoil. The victory marks a significant political shift for the nation, struggling with fuel shortages and inflation. In Cameroon, preliminary election results show President Paul Biya, the world's oldest president at 92 years old, is set to return to office with 53% of the vote. Protests erupted in Garawa, the capital of the northern region, where a young teacher, Zuhairatu Hassana, was shot and killed by police during demonstrations. Internet access has been significantly disrupted throughout the Central African country, which monitoring organization NetBlocks says may limit coverage of events on the ground. Sudan's Khartoum International Airport resumed domestic flights for the first time since the war between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces began in 2023. A Batter Airlines flight from Port Sudan marked the first civilian landing at the airport. The resumption is vital for humanitarian aid movement and evacuating people from war zones, though fighting continues, particularly in El Fasher, where thousands remain trapped with severely limited access to food, water, and medicine. In South Africa, a Pretoria High Court ordered former President Jacob Zuma to repay approximately 29 million rand, nearly $1.7 million, in legal fees that were unlawfully paid from state funds. Kenyan marathon runner Ruth Chepngetich has been banned for 3 years after testing positive for the diuretic hydrochlorothiazide at 190 times the permitted level. The Athletics Integrity Unit found evidence on her phone suggesting possible testosterone and anabolic steroid use, though her 2023 Chicago Marathon world record of 2 hours, 9 minutes, 56 seconds will remain valid. Japan's new Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, who became the country's first female prime minister, announced plans to advance Japan's defense spending target of 2% of GDP from fiscal 2027 to 2025. Public polling shows strong support for Takaichi's cabinet, with 80% approval among respondents aged 18 to 39. She will outline revisions to key security documents and closer U.S. defense coordination in her upcoming policy speech. We move now to South Korea, where Foreign Minister Cho Hyun announced Seoul will open negotiations with Washington to revise the 123 agreement, seeking greater flexibility to reprocess spent fuel and enrich uranium for civilian power. With 26 operating reactors and reliance on imported fuel, South Korea argues for domestic capability, though U.S. proliferation concerns persist. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations continues navigating complex regional challenges as Malaysia holds its chairmanship. Officials expect collaboration pledges at upcoming meetings, though Foreign Minister Mohammed Hassan indicated there would be no joint communique. Conflict management remains weak as Myanmar's collapse and a Thai-Cambodian border clash expose institutional limits. Despite U.S. pressure regarding transshipment issues, ASEAN is poised to advance the China-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement version 3.0. That concludes our main coverage. Now we turn to stories that receive insufficient attention, but carry significant consequences. Africa, the Mali fuel crisis. In West Africa, a humanitarian and economic crisis unfolds in Mali that has received minimal international coverage despite its devastating impact on millions. Since early September, the Al-Qaeda-linked Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, known as JNIM, has enforced a fuel blockade that has paralyzed the capital Bamako and cities throughout this landlocked nation. The militants have torched fuel tankers almost daily, cutting off key routes to the towns of Kayes and Nioro du Sahel on the Senegalese border. The U.S. Embassy in Bamako issued a security alert stating that persistent and unpredictable disruptions of gasoline and diesel supplies are impacting cities throughout Mali, causing long lines for fuel, affecting electricity availability, and potentially disrupting the overall security situation in unpredictable ways. Despite being one of Africa's top gold producers, Mali ranks as the sixth least developed nation in the world, with nearly half its population living below the poverty line. Businesses are being forced to shut down as the crisis enters its second month. Residents face lengthy queues and price hikes at petrol stations. Bank employee Amadou Berté told reporters he traveled 20 kilometers by motorcycle taxi to find gas for his car after it broke down from lack of fuel while returning from work. That concludes our main coverage. Now we turn to stories that receive insufficient attention but carry significant consequences. Africa, the Mali fuel crisis. In West Africa, a humanitarian and economic crisis unfolds in Mali that has received minimal international coverage, despite its devastating impact on millions. Since early September, the Al-Qaeda-linked Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, known as JNIM, has enforced a fuel blockade that has paralyzed the capital Bamako and cities throughout this landlocked nation. The militants have torched fuel tankers almost daily, cutting off key routes to the towns of Kayes and Nioro du Sahel in the Senegalese border. The U.S. Embassy in Bamako issued a security alert stating that persistent and unpredictable disruptions of gasoline and diesel supplies are impacting cities throughout Mali, causing long lines for fuel, affecting electricity availability, and potentially disrupting the overall security situation in unpredictable ways. Despite being one of Africa's top gold producers, Mali ranks as the sixth least developed nation in the world, with nearly half its population living below the poverty line. Businesses are being forced to shut down as the crisis enters its second month. Residents face lengthy queues and price hikes at petrol stations. Bank employee Amadou Berté told reporters he traveled 20 kilometers by motorcycle taxi to find gas for his car after it broke down from lack of fuel while returning from work. While the October 19th Louvre heist generated initial headlines for its cinematic quality, the deeper story reveals a troubling pattern of escalating museum thefts across Europe that signals a fundamental shift in how organized crime targets cultural institutions, a development with profound implications for preserving humanity's shared heritage. A Louvre robbery was not an isolated incident, but rather the most visible manifestation of an accelerating trend. In recent months, France has experienced a wave of museum thefts. The Takaichi Museum and Huron Museum were targeted in November 2024, the Adrien Dubouché Museum in September 2025, and the National Museum of Natural History was robbed on September 16, 2025. Just 1 month before the Louvre heist. In that earlier theft, $1.7 million in gold nuggets were stolen. Authorities announced Tuesday they have made an arrest in that case, with a woman indicted for organized theft and criminal conspiracy. Security experts identify a disturbing evolution in theft methodology. Art crime specialists note that thieves have shifted from targeting prized paintings to artifacts that can be dismantled, stripped, or melted down for their valuable components. The Louvre thieves demonstrated sophisticated knowledge, going directly to specific display cases containing the most valuable pieces: a pearl and diamond tiara, emerald necklaces and earrings, sapphire jewelry, ignoring other items and completing their operation in just 7 minutes during regular museum hours while hundreds of visitors were present. This brazenness represents what experts call grab-and-go operations using powerful industrial tools during daylight hours, dramatically increasing risks to public safety. Museum robberies traditionally occurred after hours to minimize danger to bystanders. The parallels to the 2019 Green Vault robbery in Dresden, Germany, where thieves stole jewelry worth over 100 million euros, suggest possible connections to organized crime networks or copycat operations learning from successful heists. French labor unions have warned that museum security has been systematically undermined by staff reductions, even as attendance has soared. The SUD union issued a statement on October 19th, complaining about the destruction of security jobs at the Louvre. An audit conducted by the Paris police made recommendations that were only beginning implementation when the robbery occurred. A forthcoming report by Corps de Cultes, France's supreme auditing institution, found significant delays in deploying equipment intended to protect works from 2019 through 2024. The implications extend far beyond France. Cultural institutions worldwide are re-evaluating their security protocols, recognizing they have become soft targets for organized criminal networks. With museums holding irreplaceable artifacts representing humanity's shared heritage, the escalation from stealthy after-hours operations to armed daylight raids raises urgent questions about whether current security frameworks can protect these treasures. As one security expert noted, given how these incidents are progressing, it may only be a matter of time before violence escalates further, potentially resulting in casualties. The Louvre director offered her resignation, though Culture Minister Rachida Dati refused to accept it, acknowledging instead a terrible failure that exposed institutional weaknesses. President Macron has called for acceleration of security measures, but the question remains whether responses will prove adequate against increasingly sophisticated and audacious criminal operations targeting the world's cultural patrimony. Tonight, we have examined the forces shaping our world, from diplomatic struggles and humanitarian emergencies to the critical stories that too often escape scrutiny. And Inside News, we remain committed to illuminating not only what dominates headlines, but also what demands your attention in the shadows. An informed citizenry requires knowledge of both the visible and the overlooked. As we navigate an increasingly complex global landscape, understanding these interconnected challenges becomes essential to comprehending our shared future. Thank you for joining us this evening. Until tomorrow, good journey to all.